All right, welcome back to 2-Ton Fun and the old hay wagon project here we got going. Yeah, so let's see where I'm at this week. So one thing I didn't cover in my last video was I got this toolbar, it's called, off of a cultivator. 378, I don't know what kind it was, a white or something, I'm not even sure. But my dad was gonna haul it into the scrap yard, so he disassembled it and gave me this big beam off of here. It's got the little sales logo on there from the implement place. But what we're gonna do is take that and make that into my back beam that's gonna go under here to finish the back off, because I need to put something on there. It's a little on the heavy side, but I don't care. We'll use it for pushing over trees or something. But yeah, so that's gonna go on there here soon. But let's go around front and take a look at what we have going under the hood. So, since the last video I was working on the radiator. So I got the radiator done. So I made these little fancy brackets here. I took the old radiator mounts, supports that used to bolt here, and they went over the top on the really tall radiator that this truck used to have. Cut them down, welded a tab on, and I just used the factory Silverado mount holes here and just put a kind of some, I guess, rubber material in between and got that mounted. So I think that'll be okay. And I got my battery in. Don't have power going yet, but close. Ran my wiring that goes to the charges the battery and the passenger side lights. I kind of secured that to that aluminum piece I put in the on the top, and took off all the old tape that was on the wires, stripped those back and just checked it all out. Got rid of what I didn't want. Got rid of the voltage regulator, and really all he had to do was get rid of there was the wires that went into the starter, or sorry, the alternator. Those are gone. Power wire or charging wire is still hooked up to the system that runs back to here, so that comes off of there. And then this is the exciter wire just from the factory, so that's all done. There was some ground wires that were in all that harness, so I just re-grounded and connected that to just have extra ground. So I got lots of grounds. I got that one, this one here, which grounds the harness, and then there'll be one inside the cab that grounds the computer system. But the only thing I need to do is this went to the wiring voltage regulator, and this is a ignition on that would turn on the alternator. So this is hot when the key is on, so I'm going to reuse this somewhere else or just tape it off, cut it back and tape it off. But we may use that for fuel pump or something, I'm not sure yet. Then over here, this was the other factory part of the harness. Purple wire, like on most GMs, goes to the starter. So that's my cranking signal. And then these couple others were just the secondary wire that went to the starter, which looped back up to the coil, which was power on while cranking to keep the spark going. So I don't need that. I'm gonna get the battery hooked up and figure out what to do with some of this and how I can use it. And one of these is the temperature sensor that actually goes to the gauge. So I've got the factory one here that goes to the computer to run the fans. So I want to leave that, but I might punch in a second one here somewhere. I think over here there's a brass plug or something you can take out, and I'll just put the GM style one wire thing, and then it'll register on my gauge. It's kind of nice to keep the factory gauges. Yeah, so got my intake tube and nice eBay special cheap air filter on there. So I got my mass airflow plugged in now. Just need to kind of secure that. I made this bracket here. You can kind of see. Welded it to a little angle bolted it to the block and then bolted it to this support. It did have this kind of air dam cradle thing that the air cleaner would sit in here, and it would help kind of like force the air into the air cleaner. I don't think I'm going to use it. I kind of have to would mount it in here somewhere and whatever, maybe I'll do that down the road, but we are getting very close to cranking this thing over. So just need to finish putting a couple wires down to the starter, and we're gonna crank this thing here in a few days. So we won't have the computer reprogrammed yet. I'm still working on finding a place that'll do that for me. I did find a place somewhat local here that I think I'm gonna go have it done. They can do it and have it ready next day. Yeah, so that's where we're at with that. Coolant hoses, I'm gonna get since I'm not running like the overflow, and these don't have the filler on them anywhere, I'm gonna buy an inline one that has the radiator cap. You just put it in the middle of your upper radiator hose, and you can just connect it that way. So I think that's the route I'm gonna go with that. So we can just fill the coolant in the top. So yeah, that's where we're at. Hopefully next video will be this thing cranking, maybe running, but cranking for sure. So stay tuned.